Hi, friends. Hi. Happy, what is today? Monday? Yeah, happy Monday. I'm back from retreat. I am exhausted. I feel like I'm completely hungover. That's how I feel. I am like my mom used to say, I'm war frazzled out. So, I have 6 people here. Y'all say something in the chat. I feel so lonely. I feel so lonely, I could die. I'm halfway eating dinner and halfway not. I'm trying a new recipe. It's for like Weight Watcher friendly chicken nuggets. I don't know how I feel about it. Hi, Margaret. Hi. Sorry for the crunch crunch. Let me get away from the microphone. Okay. Hey, Brenda. Hey. So what we're going to do, I talked to some of the girls earlier today. I talked to Margaret and Kel. Hopefully Morgana joins later. I don't know if she will or not. If she's able to or not. But Margaret has offered, because both Kel and I, oh, you know what? Did I send it in the right thing? Let me go look. Both Kel and I have been gone for the last few days to a retreat. Okay, it is there. All right. We were at a retreat, a crafting retreat. And so I have not caught anything, Karen Reed, since Wednesday before lunch. Like, I saw Jennifer McCabe on the stand. I see you down there, girlfriend. We have a visitor. So, since I missed everything from that point on, you ready, Margaret?
Am I on?
You are on.
Okay.
Hi.
So we do need Morgana, because I was taking notes. I was lurking and watching, which I only because everything was going on at work, but at the same time I couldn't miss this.
Right.
This was so I have my notes on note paper, my homework.
Aww.
So I have kind of an overarching, I'm going to talk about kind of the overarching points that really bugged the bee-wees out of me. And then Morgana, if she can do some of the more drill down details. But I think we all kind of know this testimony that I watched. I believe this was the second day of Jen McCabe's cross-examination, which I think was day 7. Was that when you said you took off Wednesday at lunch? I can't remember when she started. It was the day she was wearing, this was the day when she was wearing the blue sweater. So she started off with the stripe blouse. I think that was day 1. So day 2, I think this was.
She had a blue top on it, like a light blue color top.
Like a blue sweater. And so this was the day that I really, people at my new job were going, "Are you okay? You look really upset. What happened? We don't want you to be unhappy." So I just have some brief overarching notes that really bugged me. I thought I'd come up here and catch you up on them, at least fill in some of the gaps, maybe.
Okay, good.
But just really irritated me and a lot of people that are watching this trial, including our gang here at the Crime Cafe. So one of the things in particular, in general, what bothers me about her cross-examination is that she does so well on direct, and then on cross-examination, she can't remember a thing.
Right.
She had to have so many documents brought back to her to refresh her memory, some of which she flat out said didn't refresh her memory at all.
Oh,
And I think if you've heard some of the fringe, one of the things I was going to mention is Emily D. Baker has a breakdown of her testimony, her cross examination on this particular day. She has it all parsed out. You can skip to certain parts. She did a really great job. But in general, hi, Donnie. In general, she flibbed and flubbed and all kinds of things when she was on cross examination, but under direct, under what is it, Brennan? Is that his name, Brennan? She was
yeah.
just very flowy and very sure of herself. So that's, that's telling to me. So here are some of the things that I wrote down in my homework paper that you'll have to sign when I'm done. So one of the things that was a sticking point for me was Alan Jackson, Super Jackson, pointed out that when she was on the lawn and they found poor John O'Keefe, and there's all this screaming and there's clearly a man in distress here. Why didn't you go knock on the door to make sure that your family was okay too? I mean, clearly there's by all accounts, a medical emergency on the lawn, right?
Right.
And what was very telling to me was she said, well, I didn't think I had to. And he says, so there's a man in distress, possibly deceased. He's clearly injured. And you're not going and knocking on their check on your family. And what it was it was very telling that she knew they were okay because she knew what happened.
Right.
Okay. And that it wasn't, like
Aha.
everybody's, it was very aha.
Aha.
If I was a juror, I'd be going, aha. So,
Margaret would be going, aha, ha, ha, ha.
aha. So, so there was that. And then in addition, if Karen Reed was screaming and hollering and, like any of us would do, nobody's waking up. Okay. If there's all this commotion, I mean, these were valid points. Hold on just a second. I don't need my stock updates right now because there aren't any. So, and they did poorly. Anyway, so it was things like that. It was like, well, how come nobody's waking up? How come nobody's, being rousted from the house if there's all this commotion and everything? Pointing to the idea that they're all fine kind of thing.
Right.
Then there was in her testimony, and forgive me, I forget if it was I think it was an explanation she was giving to an investigator, a police investigator, a trooper or someone. Again, if Morgana was here, she could help me with this. But she last saw the vehicle at 12:45 a.m. That's what she said in her interrogation, her interrogatory to whoever she gave it to was either the cop or the investigators, let's say that.
Okay.
I last saw the vehicle at 12:45 a.m. And then to Alan Jackson the other day, she says, no, I said, I think I saw the vehicle. And he's like, okay, you said I last saw the vehicle and she fought him on it and said, and she says, I believe I think is in there. I believe I think I last saw the vehicle. She fought him on that. And he's like, black and white, ma'am. It's right here.
Right.
She says, I don't remember my exact words because they were still there, the SUV. She said 12:45. She adds in now, I think.
Okay.
I last saw the SUV. She harped on, Alan Jackson was talking about, you spoke with Miss Reed, well, I met with many police officers. So she's trying to indicate now that her memory is cloudy. And the whole real crux of the cross examination is something this traumatic. And you just said under direct examination, I'll never forget any of this. I remember it. This is trauma. This is ingrained in me. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's getting very cloudy.
Right.
So
That quick.
things got fuzzy on cross examination.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So at 5:07 a.m., she made a phone call to the people at 34 Fairview, which is her sister and brother-in-law, the Alberts. She called Nicole Albert, and it was a 38-second phone call, to which Jen McCabe said under cross-examination. So AJ asked her, "You spoke to your sister?" And she goes, "I can't remember speaking to her." And he's like, "Man, phone call lasted 38 seconds. Did you leave a voicemail? Did you?" I don't remember leaving a voicemail. I didn't speak to her.
Oh my God. Mm.
Talk to somebody.
Right.
Did something for 38 seconds. So that really stuck with me. It's like, you don't, I mean, say I left her a voicemail. You don't want to, and she, this is me being an armchair juror here. She didn't want to admit that she talked to her, and she doesn't admit to leaving a voicemail. Somebody find it.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently not, because that's all they had was phone records of a 38-second phone call.
Okay.
Words in the air were never there. Okay.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Then I forget what when things got a little heated, and I think this is where she used the word, there was nothing nefarious about it. And I urge you all to go back. Right, Brenda, it was mind blowing. I urge you all to go back, or if you haven't seen it, or if you'd like to see it again, go back and play that part where she talks about, well, it wasn't anything nefarious. And Alan Jackson was kind of like, well, I didn't suggest that it was.
Oh.
Well, you're insinuating that, my phone call was something nefarious. And he's like,
I didn't say it. You did it. Right. Oh, we do have somebody here. Look.
Oh, who's here? Oh, Goody.
Hello.
Goody.
Hi.
Goody.
How are you?
Oh, how are you?
Okay.
Good.
Good.
There you go.
Good. Am I doing okay so far, Morgana? Am I getting kind of the overalls to this?
Yeah, from what I've heard. Yeah.
So then what would make me look at my watch in the jury box and say, what am I doing here? Were these wonderful text messages that they brought up. Yeah. And I think we saw this in the first trial.
Mm-hmm.
But now that there's this more aggressive spin to it. Oh, hi, Jenny. Now that there's this more aggressive spin to it, or so I think. I mean, she's got how many on her side this time? 4 this time, I think. She's got the Jackson, Yannetti, the Alessi, and
there's
I can't.
4, yeah.
Yeah, forgive me, I can't think of the females.
The girl,
name,
the lady.
Yeah. Elizabeth Little.
Yeah.
She's she came loaded for bear. So these were the things that I think this jury is going to probably be troubled by as much as I was, because I tried to wipe my mind of all of the stuff and just listen to this being introduced to the into the record, to wit. So she talks about Carrie Roberts, that was the friend, is going and talking to the police, the investigators, detectives, whomever, troopers, etc., state police. And remind me, Morgana, was this Jen McCabe's text where she says, quote, she's telling them everything?
That's when I think she was at Jen McCabe's house. Remember
Right.
when they came and interviewed her, and she was in the other room,
She
but
was in the other room. Thank
Jen
you.
was
Yes.
eavesdropping. Like,
She's telling them everything. I think I
Carrie,
remember that from the first trial, right?
Carrie
yeah,
Roberts is telling them everything.
Right.
And there were texts that indicated there was it was to one of the what are we calling them, the McAlberts now?
yeah,
Her husband Chris, or her husband Matt, sent
yeah.
a text to her, was it Morgana, that said Chris is eating or doing something at a pizza place, and he says, don't say the guy was in the house.
Yeah, say the guy never came into the house.
Say the guy that never came in the house.
Tell him the guy never came into the house.
Came into the house.
Mm-hmm.
The family group text. Yes, thank you, Jenny.
Yeah, they were all the related. Everybody was related there.
Yeah, in some form.
So you could look at that text a couple of different ways. One, tell them the guy never came into the house because it's a lie. The guy did come into the house. Or tell them the guy never came into our house. Like he wasn't ever there. But which way do you go with that?
That's where your reasonable doubt comes in, because you left
Right.
it or very, very, it's cracked, but it's opening wider.
Mhm.
There was a text, I think, to either her sister or somebody from Jen McCabe saying, I don't want to text about this. Okay, I picked up on that. I don't want to text about this.
Yeah,
Like
like
I said,
let's not have any written communication about it.
I had an attorney tell me say that to me one time. Words in the air were never there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the very famous Haas Long deleted text, and who sent it and what time it was sent. That of course came up. One of the things that that also bothered me, besides all of it bothering me, was Jen McCabe saying the answers are the same, the wording may be different. Okay. The answers are the same, the wording may be different. Like the first time I told a lie, the second time it was a whopper.
Right.
Right.
And then again, you didn't go knock on the door, and what did she say, Morgana, that John O'Keefe looked like a buffalo in the snow?
Well, that was the video that they played of Karen. They're just taking clips, little snippets out of these different documentaries and stuff that she's been on, and just choosing things that make her look bad, of course.
Right.
Which, I mean, probably shouldn't have done those. She probably shouldn't have.
I agree. I think it was not great.
But it's also, when you're just taking snippets, you're taking it out of context. You don't even know what else was said. So
just like anything, you can string that together as the way you want to.
Right.
And again, okay, so I wrote another note. You didn't go knock on the door to see if your family was, in trouble. Also, the fact that did you know anybody there that could do CPR? And she kind of was like, well, my brother-in-law, and that
he's a first responder.
He was a first responder, and you didn't go ask him, hey, can you crack this guy's chest? We can have nothing like that. There was clearly no sense of urgency, and it showed.
Okay. But that was her good friend, John, laying there.
Yeah. And oh dear. I mean, I'd be a Karen Reed even if he was my friend. Okay. I'd be a Karen Reed if it was somebody I didn't know. Okay. I'd be screaming hysterically, trying to do something, trying to get out of my lizard brain and get into action.
Right.
It just didn't seem like there was any point. And then let's see. Oh, And then there were the cracked taillight pieces that she was telling people about. She didn't know that then when it was happening. So she was like, there's cracked taillight pieces next to his head, and there's this and that. She didn't know that.
Oh,
She
really?
didn't know that. No. They pointed out that she did not know that. Emily D. Baker pointed that out too. It's like she's reporting what she saw and what she think. He's laying there on the ground. All she knows is that there's a big problem here. Now she's saying, and there were cracked taillight pieces next to his head.
But
Yeah, she
you
didn't
couldn't
know
see those at the time, right?
Correct.
Until they started like leaf blowing,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
sifting around looking for. Because
Looking
he
for
laid there for a
lies.
few hours and it
Looking
snowed
for
and snowed and
lies in
snowed.
all the wrong places. Looking for lies.
Wow.
Whoa. This is what Jenny said on here too, about yeah, that from the first trial that they never came up. I never heard this either.
Yeah.
About the plea, taking the plea. If
Yes.
she takes the plea, how did it go?
This
will
is
be
over.
with.
This will be over with. If she doesn't, it'll be a fight to the end.
Something to that effect.
Something to that
Wow.
effect. Yeah, she's going to fight it all the way through, and
And
she
that was in
is.
their little family text, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That's right. So like I said, Morgana can fill in the gaps for me. But those, I wanted to come on with my homework paper. If you'll sign it for me now, so because
Well, if
those
I'd
are
have known we had homework, I'd have been really,
I-
paying a little bit more attention. But
I took notes because I knew I was coming on TV today. But
On the TV.
on the TV. But this is, I watched with you all last year. I mean, we all watched it together. But this time around, it seems just especially troubling for me because it's very much there's our Jeffrey.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Everybody on YouTube, that's my husband Jeffrey saying hello. That's our Jeffrey, we call him. This seems, I think, I was just appalled, and I still am at the first
Right.
trial. I'm appalled. I mean, there's so much I can see why it was a hung jury. We all, we all knew. I'm not one of those real staunch, like, hey, this is about justice, and this is about finding the appropriate justice, and this is about leveling justice where it needs to be leveled.
Mhm.
And this time I'm paying a lot closer attention because of the first time around. It's like, what is it about this that missed the first time? And that's just what I said. They're not leveling justice where it needs to be, because from everything I've heard and from the big dance that this woman did for 3
Right.
days on the stand,
Mhm.
being evasive, simple yes or no questions had to be a diatribe, 2 or 3 or 4 sentences long. It's clear to me that what they're saying, that what they're trying to do, and I'm going to say it right now. I'll go right here on live TV and say it. Karen Reed did not do this.
Mm-mm. Well, I just don't believe he was hit by the car.
That's
begin
what I
with.
mean. Right.
Yeah.
That's
don't
the
either.
main
Yeah.
thing.
I don't
On top
either.
of everything else.
No.
And this could be, the sad thing is, this could be any of us.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's really somewhat helping her is having some money.
Exactly. And I
having
thought
some
about that too.
pleasure.
We've talked in depth about Delphi.
Mhm.
And the
And
difference
that's the
and the
same
dis-
thing, but shows the opposite side when you don't
exactly. I
have
was
the
going to say the other way.
money.
Mhm.
She's has the ability to appeal. She has the ability to do the retrial. She has all of these things, and lucky her. But
Right.
that shows you that's what it takes.
Right.
But she's also spent a fortune trying
Yeah.
to defend herself that she'll never
That's-
get back. I mean, you'll never get back.
That's what it takes to. And that's the unfortunate part of the justice system in this country. But um, that's that's just my parting words, is that this is not a measure of justice when we hear what we're hearing, when we see,
Mhm.
when we hear the I'll allow it's, and it's like,
Oh yeah,
come on, rule on some of these things,
right.
because there's a very young man that will never see the light of day again,
Right.
that in some form or fashion, if worse comes to worse, may never see justice
Mm.
leveled on
Did
anybody.
you say anything, Margaret, about the when the feds came to interview her
And
and she acted like she wasn't Jen? She said, "No, I'm Nicole."
yeah,
And then she's like, "Oh, well, I thought they were trying to sell me something. I thought they were salesmen." So then
What?
yeah. So then she went inside. We hadn't heard this in the first trial.
no, we did not.
Then she
So
went
I'm glad
inside
Morgana's here.
the house and they call her on the phone and said they need, they'd like to speak with her. And so she says, "Oh, okay, I didn't know who you were, blah, blah, blah." So she lets them in and she's like, "But I'm going to need 10 minutes." And then she tells like the jury, she's like, "I hadn't even brushed my teeth." She said, "I'm going to need 10 minutes before, I talk to you." So she goes upstairs or whatever. And guess what? First, she just tries to say she makes 2 phone calls. She says, "I made a phone call to my husband because, which any of us probably would make a phone call to her husband if the feds are at the door." I mean,
But, I mean,
Would
maybe.
you come home if the feds were at the door?
and then
You'd be
she
like,
said,
"Who's Margaret? I don't know
Yeah.
Margaret."
Mm-mm.
then the other phone call she made was to Carrie Roberts.
Yeah.
So then it comes out after that, that's all she was going to say, right? But then it comes out, oh no, she called John O'Keefe's mother. She called, her advocate, witness advocate at the prosecution's office.
hmm
That's who she said it was at the prosecution's
hmm
office she talked to.
Right.
And she talked to Brian Albert, called
Oh.
Brian Albert. Now that's
She
just
made
kind of curious,
5
isn't it?
phone calls.
Yeah,
She
she
told
made
the
5.
feds.
She
She
told them
told the
she
feds
made 2.
2. She made 5.
Because they said to her, they said, "You do realize if you lie to us, that's that's illegal to lie to us,
Yeah.
right?" So she said, "Well, I made 2 phone calls to my husband and my friend, Carrie Roberts." So then she has her little interview, which she doesn't really say much to him. She kind of cuts it off. And so they leave. Well, then her husband in that time got home, Matt did, and he's like, when she's telling him, "I called you, I called all the rest of them." She said all of them. And he's like, and she said, "But I only told him, I called you and Carrie or whatever." So he's telling her, "You need to call them back and say, oh, I forgot I called these other people."
Oh
Yeah.
my
Because she lied
God.
to him and he knew it. And he was like, "You're going to be in trouble."
Yeah.
So then she called
And
him back, I guess, and, made up some reason. She
and
forgot.
I hope she is in trouble for that, because where would you or I or anybody in chat be?
Right?
Mhm.
If
That's
we've
a
done something like
problem.
that. Mhm.
That's a
Yeah,
problem.
that's a huge issue.
Yeah.
So that's what's
was
really kind
interesting.
of turned me toward the fact that, let's say, okay, let's say
Wow.
I couldn't pin it on Karen Reed, but with all of this crud, I couldn't pin it definitively. Anyway, her defense team is doing a fantastic job at
Mhm.
either proving or reasonable doubting.
Right.
And yeah, I don't think we'll have a conviction. I think we'll get a not guilty this time.
I hope so.
That's my gut feeling, and my gut hasn't steered me wrong yet. But this is extremely troubling. I was appalled the whole day, and Morgana, I know you were too, because we
Mhm.
were chatting in a mod chat that this is just absolutely outrageous. If any one of us, like I say, that don't have a law enforcement connection or whatever, know people
Right.
who know people, even that,
Mhm.
we'd be like I said, we'd be having sunlight piped to us underneath
Mm.
Right?
some jail
Exactly.
somewhere through a drinking straw.
And she's just like a soccer mom,
If she testifies one more time to how
Mhm.
many pizza places and how many pieces of pepperoni was on her pizza and how many, I'm punching somebody,
Ah.
Yeah.
because that's just burying the lead, as they say. That just
Hey,
that just
Kayleen.
hides the
Hey,
whole thing. Hey,
Kayleen,
Kayleen.
and
Hey,
Brenda,
Mary
and Dominic.
Lou.
And Mary
Hey.
Lou's here.
Mary
Oh, that's
Lou.
yeah.
But I
Right,
just,
Donnie.
and
Yeah.
then for her total switch of her whole personality, she's trying to come in there and being real soft spoken,
I
not getting
noticed that.
frustrated. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And every time he hand her something, and it's like, oh my gosh, my
Yeah.
eyes were in the back of my head. They were
They've
rolling.
told her to act like that.
Oh yeah. And
They
there's a
told
couple
her.
of
Smile.
times she was a little bit on the verge. You could tell she was almost ready to lose it, like she did in the first trial. But
Yeah.
she would rein it back in. But she
I
wanted
think there
to.
was some catcher behind home plate giving her signal.
Right. Right.
um,
She
yeah.
had her tan going on and her hair all fixed, and
Yeah. That this is
but she
it's
can't remember anything.
she can't
Okay.
remember. And like I was saying
if
earlier,
Brennan's asking her something. Only if he's asking her. Any other time she can't remember. And then when
right.
they even put a report in front of her and say, "See, this is what you said," or "This is what you said in the last hearing," or whatever.
I don't remember.
No, I didn't. No, I don't
don't
remember
remember.
that.
The wording was different. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, it was
No, that's not. I remember more today, better today than I did 2 days after it happened or whatever. And I'm like, "Excuse me, ma'am?"
yeah.
It don't work that way, honey.
No.
No. And then there was Alan Jackson made a comment about what did he say, Morgan, about collusion, that they've like we've all thought here in chat in the Crime Cafe, we've all thought about how they're all getting their story straight.
Mhm.
Because they seem to like fit like puzzle pieces when they're up there, like you say this and you say that, and that person said this and that person said that, and then her team just comes and just Jengas the whole thing,
Yeah.
and which I'm glad to see. Like I said, this, what did I say the other night? This is a little bit of a farce. There is
Mhm.
no way this young
It's a
man,
little bit of a lot of bit of farce.
Yeah, exactly.
was I mean, what did they say that her speed had to be to
Wasn't it 24 miles per hour or
I
something?
think so.
and don't you think, and God love, but anybody that's been hit by a car would I'm not going to go any further. You know where I'm heading with that. The
Mhm.
injuries just do not compute, and the whole dog rehoming thing, and no.
That was the other thing she said when that she did finally go in the house to wake him up. And at one point she said she burst into the room, right? Into where Brian and her sister were.
Mhm.
Yeah. In the
But then
first
later
trial,
she kind of changed and said, "Oh, well, I opened the door, I didn't want to scare him, like give somebody a heart attack. So I wasn't real loud." But then they asked about the dog.
I have a question about that because I did catch that part somewhere. I don't know if I caught that on a short somewhere, like after the fact or what. But AJ was asking, you didn't see the dog, you didn't hear the dog, and she finally was like, "No, I didn't." I
Yeah.
mean, after much coaxing.
Mhm.
yeah, you had to
And
tease
then
it out
he
of her.
says something like, and that indeed is because the dog wasn't there. The dog was nowhere to be seen or heard. There was no evidence of any dog. So what I want to know is, did AJ has he ever said, like, okay, if that dog bit John O'Keefe that night, okay,
Mhm.
if they did get rid of the dog that night,
Mhm.
wouldn't we have some sort of surveillance of one of the Alberts or the McCabe's or somebody leaving the residence, driving through town, going somewhere? Or do you all think that he's trying to act like they shot and killed this dog or something and hid it in the basement?
I don't know about that because I think they do know where the dog is, supposedly.
I think they do.
Because the prosecution, supposedly the guy went and made their expert that's going to be testifying. He supposedly went and made a mold of the dog's mouth where she's at now.
Right. I
So
heard
that
that.
I think
But
it's
I
still
don't think
around.
they're going to be allowed to use it, but not the mold part. But I
Mhm.
think he supposedly did go there and do that.
Mhm.
I don't know if they're insinuating somebody took the dog out of the house.
So that's what
somewhere
I'm
else.
thinking. I mean, if they're going to say that they took the dog out of the house, I mean, they had surveillance on the cameras of Karen riding back and forth and by the town square or whatever.
Right.
You know, why can't they? Do they not have any surveillance of one of the McCabe's or Alberts or somebody driving through town with a dog in the passenger seat? You
Because
know,
nobody heard nothing and nobody's seen nothing when it comes to those people.
Mhm.
It's just outrageous. It really
Oh.
is.
Jenny said, I think the daughter took the dog home with her that night.
I was gonna say that, Jenny. I think one of the
Yeah.
kids.
There's speculation about that, I think, but now
One of the
whether
kids.
they don't have
See,
any
I
proof.
hadn't heard that. I hadn't heard any
Jenny
sort of
was in my mind.
speculation.
Yeah,
But
one of the kids.
so that was that. There was something else I was thinking that came out.
It's just incredible to me that she can be shown these documents. It's like, well, I still don't remember. I don't.
Mhm.
It's right
Yeah.
there in front of you.
She don't want to remember because she wants to
No.
say whatever she wants to now. They're even trying to change the timeline
Yeah.
of when supposedly he was hit or what they're
Wow.
saying he was hit. You know, they're trying to say it was a different time. So they're having to move everything they said in the last trial and kind of rotate times and, all that.
Sneaky, sneaky.
And then they're trying to, they're talking about, I still from the very beginning have said, they're trying to act like Karen was so drunk. Her blood alcohol level was whatever it was that they said, which is an outrageous amount.
Yeah.
But why you have all these police officers? Why would somebody let her drive home if she was that? But then they interview all the people that were there that night. Oh, well, she wasn't stumbling. She wasn't. I didn't think she was intoxicated. So what is it?
It's becoming
no,
very
she did say
convenient
that.
suddenly. It's becoming
Mhm.
very convenient suddenly, all of these things to say.
Yeah. I mean, but why would they let her if she was that intoxicated? Why would he get in the car with her?
Right.
Makes no sense to me.
Nope.
Well, I mean, we watched her leave. She wasn't like
She wasn't all that bombed.
slurring everywhere.
Yeah. I think I don't know that's suddenly become a very convenient thing to say. Well, she was drunk and the blood alcohol level, and I mean, if there's anything I could say just as an aside to all of this is I'm also appalled at how many of them commence to get behind the wheel after they've done that.
Right. All of them.
Well, and we know from the last trial that who was it? Higgins and Proctor? Or no, it was Higgins and one of the Albert. Kevin?
Yeah.
I thought it was Proctor. Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe.
It was
Yeah.
The two of them, one was like, dude, did I leave my firearm in your car last night? I was so drunk.
I don't think it was that night though, was it, Jenny? That was
No,
that
this was another time. It wasn't that night.
Yeah.
It was another time. But that just goes to show you, right?
Right.
I was so wasted. I don't remember what I did with my
But
police weapon.
That's
did you
comforting.
see today? Did you watch today's or not?
I have not.
I did a little bit here and there.
Well, did you see at the end, the last guy that was up there, Gallagher?
Yeah.
You know, he was the one that was like lieutenant or whatever. But he was talking about Kevin Albert, and he called him like a good cop, or what a good cop he is, or something, best cop or something he called him, which was weird.
Uh-huh.
And everybody, you know, when I was watching whoever I was watching today, they were all saying like, oh yeah, real good cop, and leaving your gun in the mailbox or leaving it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
being
Yeah.
drunk.
Has a
Wow.
trash can or
Yeah. And then he was talking about all the, you know, how he collected the blood in the red Solo cups. And,
Mhm.
you know, he's the one that came up with the leaf blower idea. And, oh my gosh. And so it ended today with Jackson was cross-examining him and kind of, you know, breaking all that down.
So I kind of, okay, so I kind of peeked in, was it yesterday? And there was this short, curly haired, dark haired woman on the stand.
that
Who
was
was that?
was that
She's
the forensic was it not a pathologist, but she
the
did
blood
the
alcohol.
blood alcohol tests and things.
Right.
Oh,
And
okay.
she was who was it that somebody, I mean, I don't know if it was Yannetti this morning said these tests are imperfect, right? And she like completely zoned out.
Mm-hmm.
And Bev says, "Did you understand the?" And she even said, "I don't understand the question." It's like, well, it wasn't that hard. These tests are imperfect, are they not? Well, I mean, what any good witness, at least in my opinion, would say is, well, they're as precise as they're supposed to be, but everything is imperfect. All right.
Right.
So
I
that
mean,
was a
how
little.
many times have we heard someone on the stand say, you know, nothing is ever 100%.
I'm
Like,
100% confident that this is 50% right. You know,
right, right,
you know, to say that it was an imperfect. The answer is yes.
right.
But something
Always.
when she hesitated like that, something just told me like somebody's told her to keep it
Mhm.
like close to the vest here. And that was, I mean, because this is an expert. This isn't anybody that's really got skin in the game, or so we
Right,
think.
right.
Mhm.
But that just when she paused like that to say that these tests are imperfect, I'm thinking, well, is she, you know, trying to not damage her own reputation? Because she could say, well, yeah, I do something with blood, and then I go home.
Mhm.
But you know that it was not an unfair question, but the fact that she hesitated and was reluctant to say, well, you know, yes or whatever, that was a little. I raised a brow or two
Mhm.
on that, because it's like, hey, be honest. You have no
Right.
skin in the game. What do you? But
Well,
But
and to
it's
say
pressure
that,
from
yeah,
someone
they're
else.
completely 100% perfect, anybody and everybody in that courtroom, including the jurors, would be like, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
they can be accurate. They can
Mhm.
be to a reasonable degree of certainty, as we've heard a zillion times.
Mhm.
But of course, they're imperfect. But
Right.
done correctly and done appropriately and done the way they're supposed to be done, they're going to give you a pretty right answer
Right.
anyway. So to back off on the idea, I mean, you need to replay it and watch her face, because it just kind of one of these like Jack Tripper on Three's Company, like he used to
Oh,
make
I
those
love him.
faces. It
Yes.
reminded me of
Strange.
that. And so Ginny says that's a good point. She worked for the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, and they don't like to help the
Mhm.
defense. I can see that, and I can see that
Yeah.
point. And that's, you know, that kind of goes to what I was saying. She was reluctant to admit that, hey, I'm, you know, 90. Hey, it's still 99.9. Okay,
Right.
But I think the defense is throwing reasonable doubt in pretty much
they
everybody
really
so
are.
far.
This
Good.
is the
At least enough
reasonable doubt
question.
round. the reasonable
Mhm.
doubt lightning round here,
Yeah.
and they're
Right.
going to get it. They're going to get it. Does that
Yeah.
mean, as I said, that people are going to escape justice? Well, not if reasonable doubt is what the justice system, the American, the adversarial trial system is all about, recreating a reasonable doubt.
Mhm.
But then somebody in a grave somewhere is going to be there forever with nothing
Right.
to close that on. And that's what bothers me. If I have to
Yeah.
peel away all this stuff that we've all talked about and we've all watched and all of us in the Crime Cafe have commented on, that's still not fair. It's the right way. It's the truth, justice, and the American way. Superman, that, because that's what's the foundation. That's the foundation of our system. But it's still going to always bother me that somebody's laying there and didn't get what they deserved,
Right.
and that's
Yeah.
crap.
Well,
That's
and
crap.
something else that bugs me about the whole thing is that they can't mention anything about the feds.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's wrong. I think the jury should be allowed to know that they were investigating this case.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think that they're getting the full view of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Ginny, she admitted as much on the stand. She could not articulate like a person's body composition and how that relates into the blood alcohol calculation. He even went so far as to say, is the rate of whatever it is when it leaves your body different for a man versus a woman?
Like metabolizes or whatever.
Metabolizes. Thank you. Um, I'm a little slow today, but anyway,
Well, and
she,
didn't
she
they say
can't.
also something the other day though about because of her having
MS.
Crohn's and MS
Mhm.
that could affect, like, did they determine whether that can in fact affect the blood alcohol levels?
I don't know if they went there, but
I thought she acted like it could,
yeah,
that any of that's possible. But she also didn't, like Jenny said, they didn't know the exact time of her last drink. And she was going by, the 12:45 or whatever.
right.
Mhm.
It's like, do you know that she didn't have a drink before? I mean, can you say she didn't? Like right before before she went out looking for him.
Right. Like, did she go home and now she's like tore all the pieces, tore up from the floor up, and is
Yeah.
like pours her a straight shot of vodka or something before she gets in the
And that,
car to go look.
right. And that can mess up the calculations, just like Jenny
Right.
said there. So,
Right.
hmm So
Oh,
anyway,
dawning.
that's my
Dawning.
2.5 cents on it. Yeah, no, it isn't. It is a new day for them,
mhm.
but
New
that's
day.
my 3.5 cents or 4 on
Well,
your
that was
highlights.
very helpful. That was very helpful.
Well, I'm glad Morgana joined in so she could fill in the gaps because, like I said, I was in and out. But I was present enough to watch the ridiculousness that was. I don't remember. I don't recall.
Mhm.
Even that piece of
Wow.
paper doesn't make me recall. If it's in
Right.
that piece of paper, I must have said it, but I don't remember saying it. Even though it's on your paper.
Oh, and then she had the other thing where, because the police reports they have from different ones that she spoke to, and they're saying that she, said this or said that, and she's like, no, I never said that. And then he's like, well, so you're telling me that like Proctor got it wrong, or you're telling me that whatever the other one's name is that she talked to, they got it wrong? Well, they must have.
Prince, I
Blank.
think it was. Blank or
What?
Prince or somebody.
Yeah. I mean, she's blaming it all on them. Like, oh, well, I never said that. They must have wrote it down wrong. Okay. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah,
Just like
agree,
the
Jen.
whole hearing her say, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Even today, the one paramedic lady.
Oh, her again. Yeah.
Was she the one that was on the stand today?
Yeah, the one that's friends, or she says she's not friends.
That wasn't friends, but was in a bunch of picture with friends, and she was there. And
with the Albert girl.
Her
Yeah.
again.
Is it Julie Albert? Is that
Uh-huh. Yep. That
What,
she's
baby?
Yeah.
not friends with, but friends with. Didn't know
right?
she
And
was in the
she's
picture
like,
when she was in the picture.
she
Right.
said she heard it. Well, what they come out? They said something today because the one ambulance paramedic guy said that he heard it, but they were like, "Well, how did he hear it?" Because she's the one that said the paramedic lady. She said, "Well, I went back and reported it to him, right? That's what she said to the paramedic, the other guy,
Mhm.
and but he's trying to act like he actually heard her saying that." And they come out and they said, "Isn't it true that actually he didn't hear her say it? That you reported it to him?" You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, that's a question.
Caitlin
Something-
Albert.
Caitlin Albert.
That's
Okay.
it. Thank you,
I can't
Jenny.
keep all the
Yeah.
Alberts and the
McAlberts,
McAlberts
McHenrys, McGee's,
McLyers.
McLyers,
I can't keep them all in a row.
McNeilons. Ugh.
There's a bunch
Uh,
of them.
They're a whole mess.
Mhm.
And then some.
A whole lie. A whole
Right,
Right.
crap.
Brenda says that nothing was in her memory, even though it was such a tragedy.
Uh-huh.
And that she would never forget, right?
Right.
Right.
And she needed
Until
she
she-
needed an
Until
awful lot
she
of
was
help.
cross-examined, and then she can't remember nothing.
She
Yeah.
needed an awful lot of help.
And then when she was calling them to call 911, and she's like, "There's a man in the yard. This is supposed to be your good friend, but now he's just a man in the yard. He's
Mhm.
not a police officer." Because if you tell them there's a police officer down, they're going to get there even faster than what they probably would to begin with.
Right.
Whole
But no,
front
she didn't
yard
say
be
any of
under
that.
siege. That whole
Yeah.
front yard be under siege if they'd mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Makes you
Figured that-
mumble.
Makes you go,
Well-
Things that make you go,
Things that make you go, Things that make you go,
Well, this is one
Sharice
of
is
them.
one of my daddy's sisters had MS for over years. Plus, before she passed away, and her MS never affected her memory. Interesting.
Mhm.
They're going to hop as fast as they could. Well, I think that I definitely want to go back and watch
Please
all
do.
of the rest of Jen McCabe's testimony.
Mhm. You need to.
But who else from that point on is worth watching?
Well, there wasn't much except it was her most of the time you were gone.
Yeah.
And
She
then
was on the stand for another couple of days after
yeah,
that.
she was on the stand all day Thursday. And
Yeah.
then she was on the
Holy
stand
crap.
most of the day Friday.
Friday,
except
and then
for
she was done.
Except for the lady we were just talking about, the forensic scientist lady, Hannah
Mhm.
Knowles. She started at the end of Friday, but very brief.
Yeah.
And they finished her, I think, this morning, right? So
Yes, they did.
Good Lord, I bet Jen was sweating bullets by the end of it.
hmm But then today they had some. I'm trying to think. The forensic scientist lady was there. One of the friends of Brian Albert Jr. That
Oh,
rode
yeah.
home.
The young
Jen
kid.
and
Yeah.
Matt
Mm-hmm.
took her home.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? The one police officer at the end, Gallagher. He's still on the stand.
Mm-hmm.
Have they had the girl that was a friend of Brian Jr.'s, the brother? I can't remember his name. The brother that comes to.
They had the
pick her up?
brother. Yeah, the brother was on there today.
Okay.
And he said that he didn't see broken tail light.
Right.
And so did his girlfriend. His girlfriend was on there too, his ex-girlfriend. The one that was
Okay.
in the truck with him that night with his other
Yep.
friend.
Okay.
She was on there and she didn't notice a big chunk of pieces out of the tail light. But they said they saw Karen sitting they said a lady sitting in the driver's
Lady
seat.
with long hair sitting in the driver's
Mhm.
seat.
And
Yeah.
the overhead
Yeah.
light was on, just kind of like what they said before.
Mhm.
But they never saw him. They didn't see John.
Yeah.
So what's the deal there? Yeah, Ryan Nagel. Thank
Ryan
you,
Nagel.
Jenny.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Jenny
That's
knows
Jenny
the
was
name.
really, yeah. See, that darn work thing gets in the way when I'm trying to listen.
Well,
People want.
my husband and daughter and interruptions and yeah, all
Uh-huh.
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Life.
that pesky work thing that I have to do in between watching this drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even what I did watch and was able to watch or hashtag replayed it's outrageous.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's outrageous.
That's right,
This
Jenny.
isn't
Most
helping your
importantly,
friend.
he wasn't in the car.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
This isn't helping your friend at all. If he was a friend, some friend, they are.
Oh,
well,
good
there's
night, Donnie, honey. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I know it was
Night.
late. I
Night,
wanted to
Donnie.
get on earlier today, but I just did not physically have it in me. I have felt
Everybody's party hungover.
so hungover, man.
So if
And
you're
I'm
gonna be
not
hungover,
hungover. That's not it. It's just I'm like physically
Exhausted.
exhausted. Yeah.
well, if you're gonna be hungover, that's the kind of hungover to be is from fun and laughing and
Right. Right.
having a
Yeah.
good time and all, not wishing you had more Advil or whatever it is, aspirin,
Yeah.
Alka-Seltzer. You don't want that. So that's a good
Mhm.
hungover.
Yeah.
That means you had a good time. That means you blew all your energy on it, and that's good. We're
Yeah.
glad to have you back. We missed
I'm
you.
glad to be back. I'm
Yes.
telling you what, when I got in the car, my little girl was big mad at
Oh.
her mama.
No.
She was side-eyeing me, giving me the
I was,
stink eye.
I was
She
gonna
was like
say frowning and
looking at me
mean
out the
and
side of her eye, like,
Where have you been?
yeah, I was like,
well.
shoot. God forbid mama goes away for a few days.
Well.
No fun.
Oh, and I will have you know, I come home and Kel. Oh,
Kel.
if Kel is still available, honey, you come up here. I will
Kel's
put the
probably
link.
asleep.
The link is in the Discord, Kel, if you still want to pop up and let's have a little quick chat before we go. If you're still here, if you're not, she might be asleep. She did ground me with her side eye, Cherie. Yes,
Right.
she
I'm gonna
did.
say, have you apologized yet?
Oh, I apologized all over over the place.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "Will you hold my hand?" And she held my hand, but she still was like,
I don't think you can be sorry enough now. Right now.
You're in big trouble.
"Shoot."
Gonna take some time.
Mhm.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, I got home and I walked through the house and the husband is like, he never said a word, and we have like a family room and a living room. We have like 2 living rooms,
Mhm.
Mhm. Right.
and so I go in the back living room.
Oh, Kel's here.
There's
Okay.
Kel.
Yeah, there she is. The link
Get
is
up
in the
here, Kel.
Discord if you want to come up still, Kel. You can leave your camera off, ma'am, if you want to. She'd said earlier if she came up, she was leaving her camera
Oh,
off.
that's
'cause
yeah,
she
she
was
did say that.
tired. But I go to the back living room, and that's like my laundry dumping center, like where I have baskets of clean clothes, and that's where I fold laundry, and there's piles of clothes
Mhm.
on the couch and the big long ottoman thing. And I walk in there, and there is the living room is completely empty. There is no clothes baskets. The floor is clean, and I'm like, what did you do?
What happened?
And then he's like, oh, I just took care of the laundry, babe. And then
Kel's
he's
here.
like, oh, is Kelly? There she is. There she is. Okay, here we go. Hey, you.
Hey, you. Can you hear me okay?
I do. I do. Can you hear us?
Yay. Yes.
Okay, you remember the thing I told you about the dishwasher situation?
Oh, yeah.
He lied. He ran the daggone dishwasher. So what had happened, he had messaged me a photo of Jolie doing dishes at the kitchen sink, like on her little stool and stuff, you
That's
know. And I was
sweet.
like, oh, that's so cute. She loves to do that, right?
Mhm.
So then he's like, I said, what are you washing dishes for? And because I had literally filled the dishwasher up the morning that I left, right? Or the
Mhm.
afternoon that I left. I filled the dishwasher up and I was going to run it, but I wanted to take a shower right before I left. And so I didn't run the dishwasher. Because, sometimes when you run a dishwasher, when you're taking a shower, the water gets cold or what.
You're gonna get cold.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So anyway, I was like, I'll run the dishwasher when I get out before we leave. I forgot. So he's like, I said, well, the dishwasher's, he said, I said, why are you doing the dishes? He said, because we need dishes. I'm like, the dishwasher is full of dishes. Just start it.
Mhm.
And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. Because every time I do, something goes wrong with it. The door won't open and the soap just kind of stays in there and oozes down the door. I'm like, it's because you always put something too tall in that spot. And when the door tries to flip open to let the
It
soap out,
blocks it.
it
Yeah.
hits like the handle on a pan or something,
Yeah.
It's not rocket science, babe. But
Right.
anyway. So I go in there and he's like, oh, yeah, I lied. I did the dishes, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, well, thanks. Thank you, babe. And then he's like, can you open the utility room door? Because that's where our washer dryer is. And that's where we feed Poppy, right?
Mhm.
He's
Mhm.
like, can you open the door and let Poppy, because she probably wants in there to eat. And I was like, okay. He never tells me to do that. So I knew something was up. And I opened the utility room door. There wasn't a stitch of clothes in there. Two empty clothes baskets. No clothes in the dryer. No clothes in the washer. No clothes hanging up.
Wow. That's awesome.
Can
You were like,
you?
when I get home, those same dishes are going to be in the sink.
Oh, she was.
And not just the same dishes, but a little bit more, right?
Yes.
Room to stuff in there. Oh.
Oh my
Mm.
God. I was like,
Awesome.
wow, honey. And he cleaned up the big kiddos' room.
He
I
was
was
busy,
just like,
busy.
what in the world? I said, well, that's my Mother's Day present. Thanks,
I was
babe.
gonna say.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
He's never done that before. Never done that before.
Well, that's nice.
I was very excited.
Of
And so
course.
then when I got home and seen all the clean clothes were done and the dishes were done, I put my happy little butt in my recliner and that's where I stayed the rest of the
You planted.
I did. I planted and
You
I
planted.
still Kel and I were both talking about how we feel like we're on a hangover from heck.
Yeah,
Good
bet.
God.
Yeah.
How are you dealing today, Kel?
Just tired. I mean, I didn't get home till 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
this morning. And mind you, we had to check out by 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a
Oh, that's
very
long.
long day. Yeah.
That's a
Right.
longy one.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Very long day.
Traveling
But,
is such a punishment. Ugh.
I've never been really good at sleeping in the car, sleeping on a plane. But this time I was so tired that I was able to do both. So,
Good.
yeah.
That's
Good.
So
good.
that's why my sister lives an hour from me, and we got back to her house at like midnight, and I felt rested enough to drive the hour to my house and just, be in my bed.
Right.
That's
So it
good.
was, but then I get home at 1 and can't fall asleep till 2:30, but
There's
it
Yeah.
is
that
what
too.
it is.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was good to hug on Jenny, and
It was
oh
good
my
to hug on you.
gosh. I felt like at times I had her all to myself. It was so like, I'm grateful for sure.
Well, I
That's
loved it.
nice.
We always have fun. We always have fun. I can't wait to get to do another one.
Yeah.
So I've been calling around today, actually looking at a few places. So
I know. Jenny's a little making stuff happen, maybe.
hopefully, if I can find the right
Mhm.
spot,
I'm already at the airport.
Margaret's packed and ready to leave.
Margaret's layover starts now.
I'm already in the airport. I'm already in the airport bar.
Oh wow, there you go.
That's the last stop before the plane, of course. Ugh. Well, that's lovely. That's great.
Yeah, we had a good time. It was I don't know, it was a little different, than the past retreats that we've been to, but it was it was good. The social time was fun. The food was good. I fell completely off my Weight Watcher diet, but
That's
I'm back
okay.
on it.
Yeah.
I'm back on it today.
That's
Yep.
okay.
That's what you do.
That's exactly what you do.
Yeah, I'm back on
Gotta
it.
have some fun and
Yeah.
enjoyment in life.
Yeah. It was really good though. The food was good. What was your favorite meal, Kel?
Um, you know what? I would say it was the barbecue chicken.
Really?
Yeah, just because like where I live now, we're not allowed to have grills, and I don't really know how to grill that well, and so I haven't had some real good barbecue chicken where the sauce is like not just on the outside, but it goes like throughout to me. It was really good.
Yeah. Yeah. The
How
chicken,
about you? What was yours?
the meatloaf.
Yeah, that's my second. That's my second.
However, I will say that while we were gone and while we were traveling to and from, we stopped at Hardee's both ways.
Oh, good.
And because one of the gals that rode up with us was or that I rode in with, she's a very healthy eater, but she's kind of, I don't really know what diet she does, if there's any one diet per se, but she does a lot of like meat, protein, like whole food, that kind of thing. And so she got a sandwich, and however she ordered it, it came basically with all of the insides, just not the bun, you know?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so it was a lot of like the beef patties and bacon and cheese and,
So like a melt kind of thing. In
yeah.
a way. Yeah.
Mhm. But
Sounds
she
good
really
now.
liked that. So we stopped there both ways, and I got like the big monster bacon burger and french fries, and I was like, "Nom, nom, 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 nom,
That
nom, nom,
sounds
nom,
good right
nom,
now.
yummy. Very yummy." But
Well, that's a big part of vacation, right? Is you eat your
You
way
eat.
through
Yeah.
wherever you are.
yeah.
Yeah. You come
Yeah.
home heavier and you take care of it when you get home. You
Right.
can't deprive yourself when you're gone like that. You need to
Mhm.
partake.
And I
Right.
did. I partook.
Mm-hmm. What
I
you
had
do.
I had an amazing fish sandwich at the airport. It was
Oh, really?
so thick and oh my gosh, and the fries were so good. Yeah. It hit the spot. So, and I noticed like I think with this I would say all the retreats I've been to, this was the best food.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't snacking. I really wasn't snacking very much like
Yeah.
I had in the past, because the meals were so filling and so
They
like
hit
you
the
enjoy
spot.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that you don't find yourself reaching for something, 2, 3 hours later.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
At
Well, and
least
I'll
that was
say,
my experience.
I think too that the food, all of the food that they served, felt really very much like home cooked food.
Yes.
Ooh, that sounds
Yes.
good.
Yeah, I
Not
mean,
like
we had
over-processed or
yeah.
not like it had been sitting there for a while, you know.
Never
Mm-mm,
under a heat lamp.
And
mm-mm.
and mind you, like our meals were 45 minutes long, so you had to get there and eat all you wanted, but
Mhm.
you had 45 minutes and that was it. And
Yeah, that's a
you
quick one.
know, breakfast was early and dinner was early, and so but the meals were good. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we had not burgers, I'm sorry. We had the meatloaf, mashed potatoes, corn,
Hmm.
and like a biscuit. And then
Hmm.
they always had like one dessert option each night. And um gosh, I don't know. They had like what was it, pork loin that first night?
Man,
Yeah, we barely got there in time for that because when we showed up, there was only 15 minutes left of dinner.
Yeah.
And we're like, we need to go eat before we even get our room.
Yeah, or we're gonna be starving.
Right? So,
Mhm.
but that, yeah, like lemon square was one of the desserts. And then
favorite.
the other was, what was that? Like a cake with like an icing, and then you can add strawberries to it if you wanted, like diced up
Felt like
strawberries.
it kind of felt I thought maybe it was a pound cake or but it wasn't.
It
It
wasn't
was
that dense to
yeah,
me to be a
no, and it
pound cake,
wasn't like an
but
angel food cake either. It was more like
mhm.
it tasted just like a vanilla cake mix.
Yeah, I
Like a
think that's what
vanilla
it
cake.
was. Yeah. And the other one was like a fudge brownie, I think. That was the other um dessert we had.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
remember they had those little they had dessert for lunch too each day.
Mm.
One of them
Oh, I
was
forgot about that.
the peanut butter cookies, and then there was those
Yes.
little what were those called? Those little, like, chocolate chip crumble, like, wrap things with the vanilla chocolate chip icing piped inside of it.
Oh, cannoli?
Like, little bitty baby ones, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, those were pretty good. Yeah. Those are
Yeah.
little. Like probably
Mhm.
2 inches, well, an inch and a half long or maybe.
They were real good, though.
Mhm.
I had toast.
Toast. We had a lot of food, and then we did s'mores one night.
Oh, corn.
Yeah, not many of us went out there for s'mores,
Mm,
but it was fun. And oh my, so s'mores is with the chocolate, the graham cracker, and the marshmallow, of course. But she also had chocolate squares that had caramel inside. So
Mhm.
some of us did that.
Hmm.
Oh, we have a treat for you guys.
the water I had
Kel,
was really good too.
your what was?
My water that I had was really good
Yeah.
too.
What about your
No,
carrot sticks
it's
and your celery stick?
sounds terrific. Sounds like guys had a great time.
We
I'm
did.
glad
Yeah.
for you. I'm really glad.
The last night we were there, we were introduced to this couple,
Yes.
and you guys, um, how did we get to the conversation part? I forget, Kel. How did we get to the
Well, they
what
were,
he did for a living?
well, at the retreat, you walk around and you look at what other people are working on. And so they both came around, and we had noticed, had been our photographer like
Mhm.
all weekend. And they both came up and were talking diamond painting at first. And then I think, you know, this channel obviously came up in conversation. And I think you just asked him, like, what do you do?
Yeah, that's it. That's what happened.
Yeah.
It was so cool because he said, "I'm retired PI."
Oh, neat.
And I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, wow." I mean, I think I had been having a little bit of mom juice, thanks to Kel, but
Oh well.
Kel bought,
Well,
but,
that'll do it.
I was, like, overly excited, and I was like, "No way. Oh my god," and the dude I think he said he worked as a private investigator for like 25 years.
Mm.
Huh.
And he had worked undercover a lot in the trafficking side
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
of things.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
And yeah, and he started telling us some stories, and Jenny's mouth, I was like, close.
My mouth was like,
Catching flies.
Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah.
some of the things
But
he was saying was just, I was like blown away.
so we started telling him about the channel, and the exciting thing is that he offered to come on
Oh,
as a
that'd be
guest.
fun. Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Be really neat.
Yeah. So
And
I got
he's willing to answer any questions. And he goes, "Oh my gosh, I have so many stories." So I have a feeling he could just come on and tell us some things, you
Oh,
know.
I'm sure he
But we
does.
had, but you know, we also had questions like, how do we stay safe? You know, how do we, what are we supposed to look out for as just an everyday person? And you know how you see on those reels and you know, social media, like if someone makes a certain hand gesture in public, that means they're in trouble, you know, and he had some views on that too. So it's exciting because he could come on and just share another world, you know, of insight.
Right.
Right.
That would be really neat. Oh,
Yeah.
I hope so. Hope.
Yeah. He will. I got his name and his email address and phone number.
Mm-hmm.
So he said that he still works on the streets now. So it's easier for me, quicker for me if I text him versus like email, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I will definitely do that. We'll have to plan that. And I still have to have Alyssa on the channel getting the perspective from a juror in the murder trial. We were supposed to do that. Things went sideways with me, so that didn't happen. But we've been talking. I talked to her over the weekend, and we're going to plan a weekend in June.
Oh, neat. Yeah.
Awesome.
Mother's Day is coming up, and then she's got some stuff going on the Sunday or 2 Sundays after that. So we're gonna do it on a Saturday or a Sunday, I think, and
Neat.
but it's gonna be sometime in June. So
That'll
we'll
be
see
good.
when I can get him on.
And I know I mean, we kind of know what trial it was, right?
She gave us the name, but she said it was
Okay.
one that wasn't like really publicized much at all.
Okay, but we could still look it up if we wanted to prepare questions in advance
Oh,
for
Yeah,
her.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah. And I'll be sure to give you guys the name once I'll have to ask her again. I'll have to ask her and see if she has any links to anything online to it that she's like caught up on or something. So well, you guys, I've got to get out of here. It is 9:25 and I got to get kiddo ready for bed. But thank you, Margaret and Morgana, for coming up and filling me in on everything I missed. And
Happy to.
Kel.
Yeah.
Kel-
Yes, thank you, ladies. Because I'm pretty lost, but watching the
Yeah.
first one, I have an idea. But
Yeah.
it seems like a lot of new information is kind of coming out, like the temperature of his phone.
Yeah.
I don't remember hearing about before, which is interesting. So yeah.
It is
Right.
a much deeper dive this time
Mhm.
because everything.
Yes.
Well, everything's on the line. So
One thing I heard her say, I don't want to forget this. This was big to me. And I heard this as I was getting in the shower on Wednesday to leave for the retreat. I heard Jen McCabe say, "That's always been my story."
yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Wow. Like it. Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
rehearsed.
That
for
was.
And I
sure.
remember
That was
hearing
big. Yes.
Mhm.
Alan Jackson say, "That's exactly right. That's your
Yeah.
story."
Story.
And I was like,
That's always been my
wow.
story. Yes.
Not your truth, not the
Right.
truth.
The
Right.
story.
Yeah.
Story.
Let me tell you something else
Narrative.
that you need to listen to. Is the end of the one from today with the Gallagher and Lieutenant Gallagher or whatever. I want you
Yeah.
to listen to how this man explains the solo cups and all that. and the Stop and Shop bag and all that, and how,
Yeah.
oh, that's no big deal. Like that was no big deal,
We
No,
do it all the
it's
time.
like,
Yeah.
and like the DNA. Oh well, putting that stuff in the cups, that wasn't a problem with the how, like that couldn't get like
Wow.
other DNA in there, or
Yeah, it was like
it's
silly to know that people actually use gloves and vials
yeah,
out there.
mhm. Even though they had them right down, like what do you say, a mile away
Yeah.
down at the police station? Like,
Uh-huh.
why didn't you send somebody down to get containers? And oh well, we couldn't do that. That stuff was going to get covered up. I couldn't send another police officer down there. I had to have
Wow.
3 at the scene. But you have to hear it. Yeah, be sure and watch that too.
Yes,
Oh my
indeed.
gosh.
Of
Yeah.
course,
I
he's going to
will.
be on the stand tomorrow too. Still with
Mhm.
Jackson.
Oh, he
So
will be.
yeah, Jackson started on him tonight, or today, but he wasn't done yet. So
Okay.
My question would be, how many more times have you used solo cups since that case?
yeah.
Mm.
Is it something you do regularly? You know what I mean?
I don't remember.
That is not acceptable
It's terrible.
Right.
ever.
I mean,
Yeah.
did
And
you
a
clean
mile
out?
is not that far.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Did you clean the White Claw out of the cups before you used them?
Oh
Right?
my gosh.
Right?
Wow.
Yo, open your window, throw me a cup out the door, throw me a cup out the window.
Awful.
Um,
Awful.
when we were on our way, Dale was taking me to meet my ride, like
Mhm.
part of the way, a little bit to meet them to ride the rest of the way. And Dale said we were stopped at a stoplight somewhere. And he's like, look, there goes a police van. And on the side of it, it said like crime scene CSI or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, follow it, follow it. He's like, I'm not following it. There ain't no lights on it. Go. And I'm like, do they even have lights on those trucks?
No, they
I didn't
don't.
think so. But
There.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh, that would
Mhm.
be so cool.
Yeah. There are not any dull moments this time.
Nope. There's a lot of interesting stuff coming out.
Very much.
I mean,
Well,
stuff that we didn't know.
yeah.
Like I said, it's a deeper dive this time. It's higher stakes for sure, and they're going on full tilt.
All right.
Yeah.
So if say three, I'm going to say 3 testimonies that I cannot miss. Morgana, who are they? Jen McCabe.
Well, Jen for sure.
Mhm.
I think this is kind of interesting with this Lieutenant Gallagher, just because of the red solo cups and the
Yeah.
leaf blower. I mean that's the first that they've in this second trial that they've talked about it. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Who else? What do you think, Margaret?
I think those are like the big 2.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think you could narrow it down to the 2 because obviously Jen McCabe just pretty much eclipses anything else that you're
Mhm.
Okay.
Well,
want to
he's
hear.
on there
But
for so many days.
but
So there were no big aha moments for anybody else on the stand.
no, it
then?
was it was
Mhm.
scientific, right, Morgana? It was scientific, and this is how we investigate this and that. Maybe one of those kids you could listen to, but they didn't really add a whole lot of.
Well, I found him really the Ryan. Is it Ryan Nagel? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I found him really believable. You know what I mean? I think he was
I
honest.
did too. He was very honest. I didn't find anything that he was trying to deceive anybody about. No, I didn't see. No, I didn't. Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Yeah. He was treating it honestly, and he was treating it honestly like he wants it over too,
Yeah.
but in the right
Yeah.
way. So, but I would
Right.
say Lieutenant Gallagher and Jen McCabe, those are the ones that yeah, I think
So
I'd
far,
narrow it
yeah,
down to 2
yeah.
for sure.
Of what you've missed, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies, for filling us in. I appreciate it more than you know.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for
Are you
hanging
going to
out.
be on tomorrow, Jenny? Or what do you
Huh?
think? Are you going to be on tomorrow? Or do you know?
Yeah, I think so. I feel
Ryan
better
Nagel.
this evening. I feel like I was able to actually get up and do some stuff. So, what time have they been starting?
9 your
Around
time.
9.
Okay.
Yeah.
9
Super
a.m.
early for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is early for
I
you.
don't even have the sun yet. But yeah, 9 your time. So
Brenda said he stopped at his house for a coat, and Jenny said, very good, believable witness,
Yeah.
Ryan Nagel. Okay.
Ryan Nagel. Yeah.
yep. Yeah.
Oh, and Brenda, yeah, they were in a different area. Yep, the Mills. Sorry about me not answering that. Yep, they were in a different spot. So thank you guys for
All right.
joining. Kel, thank you for coming up and
Thanks, Cal.
hanging out for a little bit.
Yep.
My pleasure, as always.
Thanks to everybody in the chat.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks guys for coming and hanging out too.
Mhm.
And I'll plan on seeing you guys in the morning. I'll probably start about an hour later so we
Yeah.
can skip through stuff. That'll
That's
be my
fine.
plan. So, and we'll just start where they start tomorrow.
Yeah.
In live time, because I feel like, you guys and pretty much everybody else I would never have expected anybody to wait on me to stream the
Well,
trial, because
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to. I wanted to watch it while I was riding in the car, but I was like, I'm not going to do that. It's too much socializing time with those gals
No, you
too.
got to
So,
pay attention to that. You got your crew here to fill you in. So
yeah.
I think we're all caught up now.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then you can go back and watch those like on the weekend or something just to catch those.
and please do. You got to see McLeod.
McLiar. The
For
McTerrill.
sure.
McLiersons.
Liar McLiars. Fibby McFibberson. Yeah. So
Right.
please do. Mhm. Indeed.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All righty.
All right.
Bye, chat.
Night.
See
Bye, chat. Bye, everybody.
Good night, guys. All right, y'all. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button before you leave. Subscribe if you're new. Ring the notification bell and put a hashtag replay in the comments down below. All right. So thanks, you guys, for hanging out and always being here. Y'all rock. So I'm going to go get in a good night's sleep, and I will see you back tomorrow morning. All right. I love you guys. Bye.